Preparing. Thank you. So we're live now. Hello, my name is Angela Miller, live from Concordia, Consularis, the spiritual and business agency of peace. I'm very happy to be here with you all. Welcome, Derek, and welcome back, Harrison, to this week's edition. How are you both?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm looking forward to the session today.
It's been an interesting week.
Yeah, it has been an interesting week, starting from having a prime minister with Kenyan roots in the UK parliament, and the rest of the reality that's playing out. It's a fantastic week for me.
It is. It's a very interconnected one. Guys, would you like to explain the basis of today's spiritual court of equity?
Well, Angela, can you explain to the new viewers what the Court of Equity stands for and what we're doing?
Thank you. That's a great question, actually. Thanks for asking, because I tend to just go into it, which I'm out on a limb. So the spiritual courts of equity were part of our natural processes back way before any system was superimposed over the way that we live and the way that we make decisions. We are all living souls, largely. There are some out there that aren't. But this is a process of resolution to help our infinite experience. What do I mean by that? Well, we all have the ability to create resolution, create negativity, and work with the spirit and the soul that we have. So when you are in a process of resolution, like every single being lineage on earth today, we have a different spiritual method that is able to assist us to move forward on our own journeys, our own paths. So the spiritual courts of equity were designed to bring justness to every single living being on earth today. That's the basis. And with the implementation of the system of domination and control, it could be religious, it could be legal, but the roots are in the religious spiritual control here. This enables us to be free thinking, good living, conscious beings of our own inner light technology. And that's really getting to grips and breaking free of everything that has been done before. And often it's very difficult from lifetime to lifetime to assess who we are, what we've been, what those impacts are, and how they affect our existence. And this happens with contracts and vows and agreements, etc. These are, because our word is so powerful as individual creators, that word can be carried and felt for an infinite number of lifetimes, if not addressed. So this is a way, a method. There's no trick involved. It's a methodology to improve one's infinite existence on an infinite scale. And that's ensuring that we are free. And that is the basis of this free will universe. We are free. And we engage with that freedom at the foundation levels. How much do we want to be free from any imposed thought constructs, beliefs, or ideologies that don't sit right with us? And there'll be many evolved being or unevolved being in terms of their own journey that have been affected in these ways. So that is the basis of the spiritual court of equity, to provide the resolution for ourselves, for the planet, and for our ancestral lineages, on planet and off, or on, depends on where you are. Does that answer your question?
Yes, great. So it's really helpful to everybody to understand that as well. Which brings me to the point of the fact that today's actually Halloween, and on Halloween, the veils between the different dimensions are very thin. So the dead in history would come and visit their families or where they've lived, walk again on the earth at this particular point of the year. And while the veils are thin, we can also look to see, we're talking about freedom, the perpetrators and people that have been trying to stop, the light warriors, the light workers that have come to earth to bring the light, to uplift Gaia, let her ascend, assist. The court can assist those people on earth in assisting to have those that are targeting them removed in this particular session.
Exactly. And this is a tremendous focus for this to take place. And it requires thinking, feeling on all levels of our existence. And this targeting can desensitize you and create negative emotions that affect your personal expansion. So, without further ado, we're just inviting all souls into this spiritual vault of equity. The watchers, the ancestors, Mother Earth. There's going to be a lot of shifting with this particular broadcast. There is a lot of movement in the timelines here. Now, do you want to, both of you, just give a foundation as to what we're going to be looking into and resolving here today?
Well, I'd just like to add that as we say that our ancestors and people that have died are returning and have the opportunity to revisit Earth at this time. They've also come at this particular time to the court to be assisted in gaining their freedom 100%. So we're not just dealing with living people on the earth in this session, we're also dealing with other souls that have passed on previously.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. And to just give a synopsis of one of the things that you're gonna look into is the way the system use the predictive programming methods, the AIs and whatever things they have to predict what's gonna happen in the mass consciousness. And with that kind of metadata, they're able to exert more control and to know the direction people are gonna go through. So us having a look at it and having the court looking at it and looking also in the fine prints that are added to people's contracts, and maybe have some of those things removed, given that every single person has the choice to accept or reject it. The court will direct us on the direction you're gonna take so that we can have some of those issues looked into and masses to be assisted.
That sounds absolutely great. Now, we're just ensuring that all beings responsible for this targeting, and this could be those that operate on their own free will and using that free will to affect and impact the lives of others. And this is particularly key at the moment because we've just come through a time of let's just say intense propaganda and suppression to try to align the old system thinking with its change of guard thinking, while still hanging on to old ideals. So we're just bringing in those responsible.
Yes, we're also dealing, I'd just like to add here, mind control. So you're talking about suppression on the outside, but also suppression within one's consciousness by the targeting even of people doing it on their own free will, living and beyond.
Yeah, living and dead. And this is the theme of, well, physically dead, I will say. This is the theme of the now. And I'm just going to invite all souls to step into this alignment to their own divinity. And we're just showing everybody, every being living and passed over, ready to incarnate, all those that are involved or potentially going to reincarnate for this false system illusion. And this ties into a clearing I'll be doing tonight at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. EST, and it's regarding bringing everybody home. So we are literally setting the foundation for many clearings that will take place today. I'll be streaming live on YouTube. Do keep an eye out, or press the notification bell, and you'll hear all about it. Get that in there. Okay, so now we started a process before we engaged in this, because we had to look at what was going on in our own journeys. And this comes in the form of interference. We know that we all have been personally projected at attempts on changing the outcomes of what we do, let's just say the rebooting of old technologies, trying to suppress us individually, because we're doing something that is way in advance of its time. And one of the things about the spiritual courts of equity, they are operational between the physical death and the next life. But there was a lot that wasn't taken into consideration. And the emotional impacts for people are huge and unyet realized. And I'm going to keep going with this, because the emotional impacts underlie every single cause of disease that is on the planet today. They are the root cause. Because if left untreated, in medical terms, after 3 months, it becomes a chronic condition. So we have to take a radically different viewpoint to address the issues of well-being and health today.
Well, I mean, if you target it and you push down and down and down, it affects your home life. If you've got a job, it affects your job. People don't feel like living anymore, especially after the last couple of years, what's taken place, and they'll end up committing suicide. And this is all the direct result of being targeted, and your freedom and your free will being hampered by unseen forces around you. And unfortunately, the majority of people don't understand it. They don't know where it's coming from. They just think it's themselves. But in the meantime, this is part of mind control as well.
Yeah, and I would like to extend this to a story that took place about maybe 15 years ago in the south of Wales, United Kingdom, where over 100 teenagers started to commit suicide and do this in exactly the same manner. And they were based near military installations and those transmitter devices, tetrad. So they were beginning to hear a specific message. and that wove its way into their existence. So they began to take it on board because they did not have the parameters or the abilities to deal with this kind of thing. And hundreds of families were affected as their under 20s took their own lives. Now, that was specific. It was swept under the carpet. It's absolutely devastating for those families and for that particular town. Now, this is common in our young people. They hear the signals, they translate the data. In fact, everybody does, because that's the way that our light technology works. And it's
can I add there? Sorry, carry on.
It's just got to stop. But this is about the dehumanization and devaluing of life itself. Sorry, go on, Derek.
What I was going to add in is, as that takes place, the people and the families that are dealing with these crises and situations, they're in pain, they're in suffering. So on a completely different level, that pain and suffering is being harvested by the dark forces and the draconians and reptilians of the planet.
Yes, it's food for their existence, which reflects, again, their substandard DNA.
Yeah.
So what can you describe as the movement as being in this spiritual court of equity today? We've got the watchers. I just want to have a word with the watchers over humanity, who have been in operation as observers, independent observers. I just want to call a meeting in peace and neutrality. There's a reluctance out there. Oh God, do I have to? Yes, please, come on.
Some of them, it's like watching news where they wanna know what's happening in the planet, but they don't want to be entangled with what's happening around here.
Yeah, and I understand that. I get it. I get they don't want to entangle, but they can observe and still hear the message, because it's you're viewing it, therefore you are entangling. So they can do that safely without actually having to physically entangle, and we can still have that conversation, because I'm likening them to the UN peacekeepers that keep peace but allow death and destruction and suffering. And that it kind of has an ethical disparity, does it not? I'm just asking.
Yes, it does, because you also wonder which side they're really on then. You know?
Exactly.
They're actually on the wrong side.
Thank you, Derek. So let's have a look at that. How many of these watchers are on the wrong team?
I don't know, there's quite a number here, and some of them are saying that there's some way their DNA is entangled with humans. So if they go beyond what they are doing, is like they are gonna be absorbed and totally taken over with what's happening on the planet. So it's like a mechanism for them to protect themselves from what's happening.
That's
But
very nice.
yet it's like the news of having to listen to someone giving you some gossip, the way it's sweet, tender, and you want to listen to it, but you don't want to be entangled with the aftermath after you come to know that the gossip is not true. So that's all. They are trending a thin line here, where they want to know what's happening on the planet, but they don't want to be entangled. But in one way or another, their DNA is already entangled with what's happening on the planet.
Exactly. So I'm just going to ask them, have their families and their lineages been threatened?
Some of them are saying a lot.
How many are held hostage right now? tens
You can
of
say it's
thousands
D-Day
of-
for the watchers right now.
It is. Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
We're offering them the support needed to get that sorted out and have
Yeah.
that situation resolved for their own peace. There's no peace in that. How could you just be an independent watcher floating by, your family and your lineage being threatened, and you're just not entangling forcibly or of any choice or free will based decision?
Some of them are playing this card that they tried to be involved with what was happening on the planet in other timelines in the past, and it didn't end up well for them, because instead of making things better, they became worse. So they are like just watching to see what's gonna happen by just observing and get to know what's happening, because what's happening here on the planet at this massive scale has never been ever been witnessed anywhere else.
Right. Well, let's have all the other universal observers that maybe take a different view.
Well, I've just got the figure that 11 of the watchers that had crossed over to the dark have made that decision with the assistance of the court to cross over to the side of the light.
Good. I'm glad that they could reach that inner decision on a soul level, on an expression level, on a light level.
Some of them are quite funny, because they are showing me this narrative where, have you seen these gambling sport sites where where you are supposed to predict a certain team is gonna win or another team is gonna win, and people place their bets, and this is what is happening out there in these universes and places where people have placed their bets. You know, humanity are gonna make it, others think that humanity is doomed and this can never be resolved. So they are just here to witness and see, is it a real thing that humanity are gonna make it? And yeah.
Well, let's have all the betters in. Who's controlling that flow of betting, I wonder? My goodness.
Of course, you know, the first guys to come on this place, there are those guys who are involved in, I would call them the drug dealers of the crack energy they harvest here. Those are
And
the managers
still,
of the sites. Yeah.
yeah, all those, look, I'm just feeling very, very, let's have you people. Right, the betters, the gamblers, those that interfere in the outcomes of all divine beings.
Well, those are just addictions that are actually feeding quite a few communities of discarnate souls that are then harvested by others. I mean, it's like a chain reaction.
It is. It's like a whole job market.
Yeah.
So, you know, the natural thing to do will be to cut off the supplies to the holding spaces, to the experimentation plants, the blending points, the test and trials. Experimentation is key here. And all their data, their observation data, is going to be removed. I could hear someone shouting, "No!" in the background. I'd like to bring that individual forward. What do you observe in that individual? I'm taking a little tilt back. I don't want to be too close to that energy.
What do you say, Harrison?
what I'm getting is that this person is heavily involved with the gambling system, and us interfering with that means that all his investments goes up in smoke. So that's why there was a huge no coming from him or her or whatever it was.
It was being the operative word. That is exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's a blend.
Yeah.
A blend of soul shards taken from others for a specific function.
Yes, but that person or being, whatever, is also being fed by the politicians that are allowing these diabolical situations to take place, because it's all gain for them. So for them on the earth, it's a financial gain, but off earth, it's an energy gain. So once again, there's a division that's taken place in this court by those controllers and those people that have been in charge underneath the watchers, changing their positions, and the other ones that remain on the side of the dock because we're at war, folks. So the ones that have crossed over now are stepping forward to assist mankind from the controllers that are controlling this planet and its mineral wealth, its energy wealth, and everything. So yeah, there's a lot taking place in this particular sitting.
There is. It's huge. I knew it was going to be huge this morning, but we say that all the time. Every week we do an episode, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and the picture is ever revealing. So let's take a little journey back to Africa, guys. And we're going to go and visit Mount Kenya. Is that right? Is that the right name, Harrison? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Right. Could you lead us to the ancestors of Mount Kenya? And let's engage in historical discussion about the visits of certain elites and portal centres that they've been hiding. They've been keeping the system of domination and control in some kind of spiritual action. Let's have a look at what they house there.
I was just talking to the ancestors, asking them permission if they could allow us to have a look, and they were like, "Oh yes, 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 come on in, come on in." And this is a very, very powerful place because there's a lot of energy coming from Mother Earth, and also I'm getting that if you can have or visualize what a black hole is, sometimes the black hole emits energy,
right?
Positive, creative energy, and this energy is sometimes directed to Earth. And one of the first landing points on the planet is at the peak of this mountain, and then it reflects around the region. And it has a lot of power in doing that. So the controllers, they are very aware of this. That's why they have a huge military base next to the mountain.
Yeah.
And they are very aware there's an underground city there, like Telos. The next thing is that they are very aware if they play by the book and align themselves with certain principles, they can use and manipulate that energy for their own, just like the queen who was with us. She got engaged in that mountain, and that's why her marriage lasted for, I don't know, was it 70 years or yeah, 70 years. And her offsprings, it's like every single person who has divorced, and the queen having that kind of a knowledge, that's why she sent her grandson William, who is next in line, and the prince got engaged on top of that mountain. So they are predicting that his marriage is gonna last like the way the queen's marriage lasted. And they are playing this narrative in a way that they are gonna make sure the people around that place or other places are not aware of what's happening, so that they can manipulate and use that energy to launch their system. But they have some difficulties in doing that because other people are perceiving this energy and they're able to decode it, and they're able to broadcast a certain kind of frequency that's very beneficial to the planet.
Right. That's
I just
brilliant.
like
That's what I'm getting at. It's perfect because as you were saying all that, we've had the Aboriginal elders from Australasia step forward. And there was a connection to the area of Pine Gap and a particular strength of crystalline frequency that's held under the ground. It's kind of like obsidian. They're going to start connecting Mount Kenya to that northeast section of Australia. And there's a specific rhythm they're emanating. It's beautiful. This is what I saw earlier on this week, this movement of Indigenous women doing a dance. And this told me exactly what was needed. It's so amazing. So that is taking place. Great. That's wonderful, because there's going to be a huge shift with this.
Yeah. And what can you see, Derek?
Well, what I'd like to add is that as this connection takes place between the Aborigines and the tribal elders, ancestors of Mount Kenya, and in Africa, the dream spell woven by, the Queen and William, the marriage has been given the power to last, but at the same time, they've been given the power to weave a dream spell over the population, so they become completely ignorant to what's happening around them. They have no understanding as they're caught in the dream spell. So as these two forces, the Aborigines, come together with Africa, we're going to ask the court to assist them with the ancestors and the tribal elders that have passed on, to break that dream spell over the population, keeping them in ignorance.
That is beautiful. And I'm just going to extend that as a holding space for over here in this particular dream spell in Latin America, Central America, and North America.
Beautiful. I'm seeing our elders there. They know what we are doing, and they are saying they have 1 or 2 cards in their pocket and they can assist. So I'm waiting to see what they are gonna do. And it's like it's like this place is connected to every single part of the planet, because it's also connected to the Hopis. The Hopis know about this mountain, and sometimes they do visit. And this story has been kept under the rugs, where it's only the initiates or people who know what's happening are aware of this information that's happening around this mountain. But going back to the system, it's like they think by drilling in this mountain, it's like they are gonna break a certain level of crust and have access to this technology that's in there. And but the problem they are experiencing is that the controllers don't have the genetic makeup. But I'm also being reminded of what there was this Target Atlantis movie where people who didn't have a genetic makeup to run a certain technology, they could create a synthetic match and inject them. So to do this, that's why there have been a massive campaign across this region to collect the DNA signature or the DNA makeup of the people, to know the people who are a match frequency with that technology so that they can be able to activate it. But the problem is that they are not even aware where this technology is. And also I'm being reminded that the Ark of the Covenant that is written on the Bible, that's where its final resting place is. So that's where it was hidden by the guys from the Old. And the elders in that mountain know the exact location where it is, and sometimes they remove it and return it. So these are some of the secrets the mountain holds.
It is amazing. Thank you for telling that story, because it is. And, you know, that's the way it's been. And, you know, just actually, I'm just witnessing what's happening on here, on this side of the water. And there is massive firing up going on from the sacred sites over here in Yucatan. And it's literally, I can just see it being pulsed through. It's like there's great movement happening, and the energy feels very strong indeed. So I'm very pleased to say that. And that is going to work congruently up through certain regions that are hugely magnetic in Earth. So let's just ask the very strong mother. She'd have to be strong to put up with this. To Earth Mother to step into the fore about this, because this affects her natural dynamic flow. How does she feel to you? Let's ask her. So beautiful. I'm just filled and overwhelmed with such a deep sense of love. And this is what's occurring on the planet right now, for all beings, for her. Guys, let me know what you feel.
What I'm getting is that the energy that is around this mountain is also available in other locations. And some of those locations, people may refer them to as chakras. And when this area activates, it's like life is spanned around those regions. And the system is very aware of these areas, and that's why they have these militaries or walls on top of these chakras to make sure they don't activate and open. And Mother Earth is looking at us and watching us closely, because we have to make our own personal decisions of having these bases closed down or these wars comes to an end. But she's she's participating with us in that perspective, but she's also allowing us to do our own thing. I don't know if I'm making the sense here.
Yeah. At this point, I would like to introduce something that we were looking at before, and that is the targeting of the blueprint, the original blueprint of the soul. And that affects your life script and humanity's life script on the type of choices that they make in their existence and world. Are they living to their fullest super divine potential, or are they not? So this is something that we need to examine, those blueprints of all beings incarnated now, to check that people can make the deep inner soul choices whilst resident in a physical body.
The moment you said that, as Mother just said, have a look at the icons. They have their fingerprints all over. Those contracts.
Yeah. So let's review that. Guys, can you review that for a moment, please? See what your findings are for those archonic fingerprints.
Well, the fingerprints, so to speak, would be your DNA imprint on another level. So the court's bringing in your authentic blueprint, and they're looking to see if there have been fake records made up, which is not in alignment with your true infinite blueprint, and takes a lot of work, takes a lot of organization to do this, but they're doing it, and they're going to be obliterated, all the false documents, all the false blueprints. And this is the work that the court's also doing in this session, which will give people the freedom to move as they've stamped and sealed the records once again and the blueprints with your DNA signature.
Beautiful. Because what I'm also seeing is that after the icons put these fine prints, like let's say you're supposed to become a good leader, but they make sure they put fine print in there. The people you interact with are gonna make sure that you're gonna feel miserable and all that. Is that they are putting this system of shame, blame, and guilt, and these AI structures that will reinforce those fine prints that they have installed. So it's being looked at in the court, and it's like a lightning bolt is going down, crashing the links between these things, where freedom is coming to the people who choose to accept it.
That's just beautiful.
Also want to mention that I'm picking up that Krida Mutwa stepped in and drawing a golden circle around the earth, bringing in the new energy of freedom. And the court is also going to be working, I don't think in this particular session, but one coming up, with the people that are carrying on the plans of the planners on the dark side, and the watchers that had crossed over to the dark side, and they're going to be dealt with accordingly as well, because enough is enough. This is the time that is for freedom for humanity and freedom from the earth, that she is completely liberated on every single level. This is the work that the court is doing.
Yeah.
Working for liberation.
That's wonderful.
I've got goosebumps in this climate like you would not believe.
Yeah, the moment you are talking, Derek, and these watchers, some of them wanting to remain neutral, I'm being reminded of the book of Enoch, where there were these watchers who were supposed to watch the world, and some of them decided it's a good idea to come and take wives with here on the planet, and they ended up having a race of these Nephilims, and those guys ended up creating havoc to humanity.
Exactly.
And yeah, and some of these imprints are still affecting humanity because there have been crossbreeds and interbreeding and what have you. So as much as they want to say they are neutral, or they want their hands off the planet, some of them are basically actively integrating and influencing things here on the planet.
No, 100%, but we're also working with dream spells.
Yeah.
and it's Halloween, I'll remind everybody again, and there's magic in the air. So the court is using these times to dissipate all that.
Yeah, look, I think it's great. And it's just the feeling of the improvement just overtakes the old responses in the body. It really, really does. And so at this moment, I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on there in the chat room. I just wanted to say hello to people that are watching right now. One of them is Anony Mouse. Hello, Anony Mouse. Thank you for your thorough support. And someone from Journeying Soul Therapy, which I think is the therapy you guys work with. Is that right?
Yes, the SCHH.
Yes, they're saying great discussion again. And then there is, if my computer works, there's Michael 9999. It's like quadruple transformation. Saying hello and thanks for your support also. It's nice to hear from people, because sometimes with this concept, we are so out on a limb. It's nice to be have that connection with people who are actually taking interest in this work. So we're grateful.
We are. Thank you guys that are watching. We really appreciate it. And also do give us a like at the end. It does help.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just have a look at the watcher technology again, because there's a little layer here I'm not particularly happy with. And it's almost like there's a little chink in some of the data. So here I think we struck gold. Now, this data is particularly relevant. I'm just going to bring it to the fore. Can you assess it, please? Might be a yellow box disguised as a black box.
No, it's coming up. And don't forget, we've got our warriors, we've got the aborigines, we've got the ancestors from Mount Kenya, we've got also the warriors from the Yucatan where Angela is, and they're all coming together and they're wielding a circle of light around these old programs and technologies that the watchers have used, not in the best interests of humanity on planet and in the dimensions above the planet. Maybe they've passed on. So, and they're using the power of nature, of Mother Earth, utilizing the power of the plants, the trees, the flowers, the crystals, and they're making a special mixture of leaves and herbs that they're going to be using just like magic. And as these programs come up, we don't need to actually see exactly what they are, because some of them aren't nice at all, and they don't have humanity's best interests at heart. But this magic, these herbs, this medicine is going to bring them up. And with the assistance of the medicine animals, these old programs, these old interferences are going to be dissolved and vaporized just like magic.
Yeah, I can feel the transformational element of Miklam Tekutli here, which is symbolic of the skull and transformation. So that is really going down deep here. It's quite it's shaking, like almost like a heartbeat rhythm.
And these old negative programs, as they're being dissolved and burnt, they're being transmuted, and in its place, golden light like smoke starts to rise. And as it's rising, it's bringing a new sense of freedom and greater love and understanding to humanity on earth. And those that have had their DNA interfered with by the dark negative forces, the Nephilim, the old controllers, if you will, the old planners, if you will, the court is going to see what they can do on a scientific higher level to even out that and return those beings to their true organic blueprint and blue plan, as nothing in the universe and beyond is impossible. With source energy, all is possible.
That is the kind of talk that I like.
That's wonderful. I'm getting this message: somebody is losing his or her bet, or wherever they are. They are losing their bets that they have placed on the planet.
Most excellent. Most excellent, because that was an interest. The hidden agendas in that data through the roof. So that is all very beautiful. There are some upper levels in the spiritual court that are being cleared. What I'm referring to is that the origination points of where this coalescence of data came into play. They're just going back, and we're also checking here that those that were threatened with being targeted or had their children affected in any way, shape or form have been dealt with, and that they are now safe. I just want to check on that. How does that feel?
That feels very good.
I can just feel the sweeping realizations coming. Go on, Harrison.
I'm just getting the news that what you have done here is gonna be a huge news in the Galactic Reporting Channel. So it's one of the top news that's gonna be reported today evening of what has been achieved here.
Great. That's wonderful news. And I will just say, Concordia Consularis, we are ready for your sessions. If you would like a private session to go through your story on Earth and beyond, please do get in contact via the links below. If you would like a retreat or an online workshop class, I've got some coming up that you might be interested in. And I haven't fixed a date yet. I'm about to do that. I'm just going to bring it up here, actually. It is the quantum love experience, where we work through tremendous impacts to your soul and get you aligned to the highest quantic frequency for your soul love experiences. It's really very beautiful, very sacred, and I will make an announcement about that at some point soon. So Just getting that in there, amongst other things. So what is the level of resolution we're looking at right now?
What do you get, Harrison?
I'm seeing it's almost clear, like it's around 99%. That's what I'm perceiving.
You're absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, there's just some
And I'd really,
residues, but that's okay. We're dealing with it.
and I'd really like to thank all the tribal elders present that have stepped forward to assist. Some have human bodies on Earth right now. Others obviously are in other forms and shapes off Earth. And I'd like to thank them all for the beautiful work and for wielding their medicine and for wielding their magic on this particular time on Earth this year, All Halloween or All Hallows, where the different dimensions are very thin, as I've said before, and they've been able to very easily connect with the ancestral light stream, the tribal elders, been called forth from the far furthest reaches of the universe to come and assist humanity in rising up to their freedom within and the mental constructs of imprisonment being dissolved.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful words there, Derek, really.
Yeah.
Thank you to all those beings. Like you said, it's just such a great honor to work with them. Really, really is. And, you know, it just, the warmth. You know, it's a beautiful scene. And it's a pleasure to facilitate it and be part of it.
Yeah, that's wonderful because I can see it's like 100% because I'm seeing water falling down a waterfall, like with that force. That's what has been released and opened for the people. So it's still up to individual work. People have to do their individual work and own up to their own responsibilities. But the collective stuff that has been done or the machinery they are using to target the collective, that's what has been dealt with, and we are very happy with that.
Wow, that's amazing. So it is, it's great. So that is a really, sometimes, you know, these spiritual courts of equity are not scripted in any way. We're literally reading the data from moment to moment. And I feel very happy and really, really joyous that we're able to do that with our own innate sense of abilities. And this is what every single living, breathing being has the opportunity to do without any construct and still be working in the right direction for themselves, their communities, families, and planet. Where your thought, your unlimited thought is not controlled or the outcomes are suppressed. This is you, free, in liberty, in this universe now, as a free will creator, creatress. What will you create? Listen within. What will you create for you, your family, for the planet? Separate from that system that is literally trying to breathe down your neck and through your body in every moment. Who wants that kind of freedom? I know I do. It's my right, as it is yours.
Well said. Agree.
Great. So I will thank everybody who's joined us today. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks to all subscribers and people that view in on our path to resolution here on the planet. Thank you very much, Derek. Thank you very much, Harrison. It's really amazing to work with you both. And we'll be back next week for another voyage with the spiritual courts of equity. Any final words, dears?
Thank you, Angela. It's been a really fantastic chat and talk tonight, and I can really feel the energies rising up. And for the people that watch this, even if it's not in the now moment, you watch it next week or next year, or whenever, you'll feel and you'll take in the energy. And if you're having any problems or having any difficulties, well, in this session, it's in the quantum world, it's in the quantum universe. Put forward what you want resolved, and if you're having difficulty with it still, this also takes a bit of inner work, and it will be dealt with, and you'll be assisted and helped.
Wow, that's wonderful, and I'm really grateful for this moment, and I'm gonna tell the people who are watching, peace be with you.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Peace. Love that. So see you next time, lovers of resolution and divine beings. May you all be infinitely blessed on your individual journeys back home.